guys, welcome back to Nixie DIY Crafts. To make the Pennywise wreath, you're going to need a printout of Pennywise face, some of the blue, red, and white mesh, one of the wire circle frames from the Dollar Tree, and some pipe cleaners. I printed his face from Google Images. I highlighted his face and hair using some Sharpie markers. Of course, this step is optional, but as you can tell from the before and after, it just makes the colors pop, makes them look even spookier. Step 1 is to trim it. When trimming, leave the top and bottom portion of the image because those will be tucked in to the wire frame. After you add all your mesh around the frame, nobody will see that bottom and top portion like you see here. Step 2 is I'm going to laminate the image just in case they decide to put this wreath outside. You want it to be weatherproof. So I do end up laminating it 2 times. Next, we're going to make bundles of the same color. White bundles and blue bundles. Doing the walking technique, which is that pleating technique, using a pipe cleaner to secure in place. Don't start the red bundles yet. We're going to do a different technique for the red. Once you've completed your blue and white bundles, it's time to attach them to the wire form. The wire form has 4 wires. You're going to attach the blue to the last wire. Next, you're going to start attaching the white bundle. The white bundle, I recommend you attach them to the inside wire. The reason you're doing that is you want this to simulate the clown's shirt. The clown wears this white ruffle top and it has a peekaboo of blue underneath the ruffles. So by doing this technique, it will represent the same. The white will be on top of the blue and the blue plays a peekaboo. Continue until you've completed your bundle. For the white and the blue, I only used 1 mesh roll of each. You're only going to add bundles to less than half of the wreath form. The rest of the wreath form will be red, his hair. When done, flip over the wreath and fluff up all the bundles. Now let's make the red bundles. For the red, I ended up using 3 rolls of mesh because I wanted him to have a full head of hair. So here I'm doing the same technique, just wrapping it around an 8-inch book so I can cut all my pieces the same size. Now for these bundles, instead of doing the walking technique of pleating it, you're going to roll them. The roll is already naturally wanting to roll up. So you're just going to make these little taquitos, I guess. You're just going to roll them up and then use a pipe cleaner to secure in place. You're going to continue this until you've made all of your bundles. These bundles you're going to attach to the 2 center wires. Every time you add a new bundle or every time you add 1 or 2 bundles, keep pushing them down towards each other so it's nice and tight. You can also repurpose this wreath for 4th of July. Just wanted to show you an example of what it'll look like if you add stars to it. Now I'm going to cover the back using some of this foam and double-sided tape. If you plan to recreate this wreath, don't cut your image yet. Watch a little further so you can see the ending result of how I cut the image. I was having a challenge trying to install it on the wreath, so I had to go back a couple of times to trim it. I flip it over and then I give it a nice press. And now it's ready to place on the wreath. At this point, I started to have a challenge trying to push the face where I wanted it to be. So that's when I went back and I had to trim the face again. I had to cut the sides and the top as well. So this is what it looks like now. So now I'm going to tuck in the bottom portion of the face on the bottom portion of the wreath. And it's going to go under the wires, just like this, under 2 of the wires. Then the top portion I'm going to tuck under the bottom portion, the last wire of the wreath. Then I'm just pushing the face forward a little bit so I can check out the placement. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to fold the bottom portion just so I can mark it for myself of where the fold is. And now I'm going to go and punch holes on both pieces of the fold so I can use a pipe cleaner to secure it on the wreath. I hope my explanation makes sense. After I punch the holes, I'm going to tuck the foam back in between the wreath, and then using half of a pipe cleaner, I'm going to secure it in place. I'm just going to tuck it in through both holes that are wrapped around the wreath frame and secure it. And now that I was happy with the placement of the face, I realized that I don't like the edges of the face. That blue foam is coming through because I had laminated the picture. So I was able to pull away some of the foam and trim it. And then I was happy with the ending result. Now I'm going to flip the wreath over, pull the face through, and tuck it in under the frame. So now I'm going to repeat the same process that I did at the bottom, but at the top I'm going to punch holes on the left and on the right hand side, and again using pipe cleaners to run through the hole and the wire frame to secure it in place. Before you secure the top portion of the image, make sure that you push the face forward and that you are happy with the placement. I then push down all the pipe cleaners so they're out of the way. Now I have a piece of jute rope and I make a double knot on it. I tug on it to make sure that it's nice and tight, and I loop it through the top portion of the wreath form. And then I take the portion of the loop that doesn't have the knot and I run it under the side that has the knot and I pull up, and now it has a hanging piece. And then last thing, write to who the gift is for on the back on top of the foam. And this is how it turned out. For the next DIY, I'm using this 2x4 that measures 12 inches. The first thing I did was drill a hole in the center. That's where my metal rod is going to be inserted. Step 1, I'm going to paint it black using my chalkboard paint. Once the wood is dry, you are ready to add your vinyl. Using my Cricut, I cut out this phrase, "time to float." So now I'm going to place it on top of my wood piece and then buffer it into place. Peel away the transfer tape and you're done. At this point, you can definitely seal this project. I left mine as is. Now to add my metal rod, I took my silicone spoon and I added a dab of hot glue to the spoon. I dipped the dowel into the glue, and now I'm going to cover the dowel with these paper straws, and I'm repeating the process. I'm dipping the bottom of the straw into the hot glue and then placing it to cover the rod. I take the second straw and I measure the difference, leaving about an inch of space uncovered because then I'm going to add my ornament on top. And here I'm just using a Dollar Tree Christmas ornament, one of the 5-inch round ornaments. So I add a dab of hot glue to the top of the metal rod and I insert the ornament. I then take this wire ribbon and I'm just wrapping it around my finger so I can curl up the ribbon. This ribbon comes in a roll, found it at the Dollar Tree. It's the same ribbon you use to tie the cellophane bags for cookies and bread. It's that same type of ribbon. Here I'm softly tugging on the curls just to loosen them up a little bit. Now I'm going to add it to the ornament by just wrapping it around the stick multiple times, and then at the end I twist it multiple times to secure it in place. If you like, at this point you can even add a little dot of hot glue, but I don't think it was necessary because again it's a wired ribbon. And this is how it turned out. One last tip, I took 2 little blocks, painted them black, and hot glued them to the sides of the base. That way it won't easily tip over if accidentally touched. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.